Good evening, race fans, and welcome to a new season of the North-South Racing League, as tonight it is the kickoff of the North-South Grand National Series from the high banks here at Daytona. And, well, we're going to find out what these short track aces can do on the main stage. And alongside me, my friend from north of the border, Mr. Kelly Dahl. Kelly, we're in Daytona for a new type of racing that we have not seen in quite some time here for the North-South Racing League.
Yeah, a switch up from just about a month ago, going from those short tracks here to the high banks of Daytona, going from half a mile to 2.5 miles. It's quite a big change between what we were previously doing and now what we're doing here this season, going up to the ARCA cars. And I think all three of the championship contenders at the end of the last season said, well, I don't know how well I'm going to do here. This is very different.
Yeah, a very different show, a very different everything, right? You got the draft that's going to come into play here tonight. But the series isn't just going to be here at the high banks of Daytona. We are going to be all over the place. We're going to have short track races. We are going to have all sorts of different races here this season. We'll be out at Phoenix, then to North Wilkesboro, Atlanta, the old configuration. I'm excited to see that in play. How about New Hampshire, Kelly? A nice flat 1 mile racetrack up there in Loudon. Then to the short track, the paperclip, Martinsville, Dover, Bristol, Five Flags. And we end the series just like we did with our Sandy Paws Street Stock Series at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. There's 10 short races to crown another champion. Brian Hacker is in the field, the defending Street Stock Series champion. When the Street Stocks come back out, can he go back-to-back is going to be a tall order, I believe, in a completely different style of racing.
Yeah, especially starting it off here at Daytona, where it really doesn't come down to just your own skills, but also a little bit of luck and how the wrecks will happen, because it's Daytona. Something is going to happen. These guys went flag to flag a few times in the street stocks, but Daytona is a very different beast. We'll see if they will be able to get through that. And then also it's just when you make your moves, you could have what you think is a perfectly planned move. You try to make the move and suddenly that line stalls out and you move to the back. So we'll see how these guys are able to make it work as our first cars get out onto the racetrack to build up speed and get themselves into, or attempt to get themselves into the redraw.
That they will, and we will take and find out what those will be as they come out onto the racetrack. As we will take and find out what's going to take place here.
A few cars getting up to speed. I think the first one that's actually going to be to the line is surprisingly Brian Hacker. Normally he waits until the very last moment to go out and take his lap time, but tonight he is jumping right out there. And these first laps, they're pretty much throwaway laps. Everyone is just trying to get up to speed. You're using that first lap, running up against the wall, building that momentum. The second lap is the one that you actually are looking for a good time. You can see Brian Hacker right now pretty much right up against the wall as he went through the corners. And he's just waiting to get that momentum. A few other drivers out there, nearly the entire field out there. I think there's only 5 cars that are not out on the racetrack right now. So pretty much everyone trying to get their laps in quickly.
Yeah, and they are vying for that top 8 for the J&D top 8 redraw. Robbie Clevey up on there. He's working through turns 3 and 4. Lap number 1. Going to go in the books here for him here in our Al Speed Shop. Fast time qualifying. No prior races with this new generation ARCA car. So tonight we will set a new track record in qualifying as we get ready to see who is going to set what. Is Randy Nichols up at the top of the scoring pylon after just one lap with car number 69. Josh Nelms working off of turn 2 and down the super stretch, Kelly. 23 drivers signed in here tonight. It's going to be a good show. Really looking forward to it. Something new, something a little refreshing, as these guys really know how to put on a show in the street stocks, and we'll see how good they are as they run here in the North-South Racing League's Grand National Series as we are working qualifying. How about Connor? Any surprise there that Dylan Connor goes to the top of the board with a 51.209?
Yeah, Connor going to the top of the board, and that was on the first lap as well. Scott Austin on his first lap doing a 51.2. Brian Hacker actually using that other strategy did not get a good lap time. 51.278 for him, so that's only good enough for 8th at the time being. Surprisingly, Randy Nichols, after doing his first lap, immediately pulled it into the garage, so he thought that first lap was all he needed. I don't think he is too concerned where he starts here at Daytona. We have a few other drivers coming across the line. Ryan Johnson now going to bump Hacker out of the redraw position. He comes in 8th place with 51.271. Dylan Connor coming around on his second lap will not be faster on the second lap.
Does not go faster. Next driver up onto the racetrack. The time in will be the number 1 of Travis Hoffler. Hoffler in the 1 car. Up on the racetrack, the driver trying to make his start here. And qualifying these laps, long time, 50 seconds. But in practice, Kelly, we were down into the 47s, almost 46-second lap brackets. This is how fast the draft is. As Hoffler goes 9th quick. He will go 9th quick on lap number 1.
Just a few short seconds left here. We'll see if John Cross is going to be able to get his lap in as he comes around. Just a little over a quarter of the track left for him. So let's see if he can manage to get his lap time in. Those seconds ticking by. He's got 6.5. He'll be just in time. Where is he going to wind up? John Cross ends up in 11th, so he will not make the redraw, and that will solidify our top 8 for the night.
That's going to do it as they get the checkered flag for lone qualifying as the field will start to go in there. And it is time now for everyone's favorite time, the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw. Once again, we thank J&D Farms for being our Top 8 redraw here this season as we get ready to go with our first redraw of the Grand National Series. Kelly, I was amped up about this, really excited about this Grand National Series. And to start it off at Daytona, where pretty much you got to try to keep it clean. Anything is going to happen. We're going to find out from our drivers here momentarily what their thought is. As Dylan Connor going to be the first driver that we will talk to. We've got him here. So Dylan Connor picking up the Grand National Series Sunshine State 150 Fast Time Award presented by Al's Speed Shop. And Dylan, another fast hot rod out there with a 51.209. You're going to have to make that dreaded call, though, to choose a number 1 through 8. We'll do that first, and then we'll talk about tonight's race.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 6.
6. All right, that is going to put you P number 5 inside row number 3. Is that going to be a good spot, or does the starting spot really matter at a race like this?
I don't think it does. I don't do many super speedway stuff, but I do know that you're gonna have to try to avoid the big one. That's for sure. So I think if you can find a good hole and not get yourself crossed up in any of the big wrecks at the beginning, I think you have a good shot at the end.
All right, sir. Well, congratulations on grabbing that first Fast Time Award presented by Al's Speed Shop, and going to roll off P number 5. We look forward to see what this 90 car can do here tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Dylan Connor going to roll off P number 5 after starting our fast time. And the car number 5, Scott Austin's the next driver, Kelly, and I believe you're standing by with him.
Yeah, catching up now with Scott Austin. And Scott, a much different environment from just a few weeks ago, going from those short tracks here to Daytona. What are you expecting out of this season?
We'll see. I got pretty good qualifying effort, so that's also unusual for me, just like this racing is. So hopefully this is a sign of good things to come.
Well, we may just mess up that qualifying here for you in just a moment. So you have the choice of everything except for 6. What would you like here tonight?
We'll take the 5.
Take the 5, and yeah, that does drop you back. So making up a little bit for the fact that you finally got a good qualifying result, you will be starting in 8th here tonight.
It doesn't get much worse, but at least I'm up here talking to you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, it is still at least in the top 8. It is not that far back when you've got 22 cars here tonight. So still a good spot for you here to start things off. And after 60 laps, we'll see if you're going to be able to be talking with us one more time. So good luck to you, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Scott Austin, he rolls off in P8. Also, one of the drivers taking away the back starting spot. We still have the pole out there, so let's see if one of these next drivers can get it.
We do the next driver, hails from Texas, driver number 69 of Randy Nichols. And welcome back to the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw, Randy, and a much different style car, much different style racing we're going to see here tonight. Man, how different is this in the different mindset coming in here to Daytona? I would really say this is probably the biggest wild card of the season.
I think it's pretty much just like on everybody's radar of like, hey, you know, anybody has a shot to win this, and anybody can win it from any spot on the grid. So definitely, it's definitely a wild card. You just got to survive it.
Well, the number 5 and the number 6 have been chosen so far. The poll is still out there. Any numbers but 5 or 6. What number would you like here in the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw?
Let's go 8.
Gonna go 8. That's gonna be outside the front row, starting P number 2. Is that a good spot? Like you just said, you could win from pretty much anywhere. We know you're gonna have to at least pit a couple times in this race. Is out front the place to be, you think, to try to stay out of the most trouble?
I mean, honestly, I think you can get in trouble anywhere. You can get hooked by somebody pushing you, and you can just run into somebody that gets turned right in front of you. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
We wish you the best of luck here tonight, Randy, and congratulations starting on the outside of that front row.
I appreciate it.
All right, Randy Nichols takes the front row starting spot. Kelly, the pole's still out there. You're going to talk to the Hugo Paquette Motorsports 13 QC of Guillaume Fortin.
Yeah, catching up now with Guillaume Fortin. And Guillaume, I've called a lot of races that you've been in. I think this is the largest track I've ever seen you on.
Yeah, I think so. And I've got no clue what I'm doing out there, but it sounds like I can qualify at Daytona.
Well, good news for you. Pretty much everyone has said that so far. Is that we're getting onto these larger tracks, and everyone's saying, "I'm a short track guy. I have no clue what I'm doing." But we'll get you a qualifying spot here tonight. So your choices, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7 still out on the board for you. So what would you like?
I'll go with number 3.
Going with number 3, and that will put you right where you qualified, P4. So outside of row 2. Is that a good spot, you think, for the start of the night?
Yeah, I think so. I think staying up front is going to be the key tonight, just so we don't get caught in wreck in the middle of the field. But if we're not in the front, I think we're going to go back to the back of the pack, but hopefully we can stay up front.
Well, we'll see what you can do. 60 laps here on the schedule tonight, and maybe we'll be talking to you later on. Good luck to you, Guillaume.
Thank you.
So Guillaume will start right where he qualified. That redraw placing him right in the same spot.
That he did, and that's not the bad spot. But up next now, we're going to talk to the driver of the number 2, Mr. Dan Janjanin. And Dan, good qualifying effort, P5 in qualifying. The good news is the pole is still out there, and the question that I have, everyone says they have no idea what they're doing. You guys are short track racers, but you have a fast race car here. What's it going to take to keep it up front?
Not get wrecked.
Hey, that is key. I've heard that a lot tonight. Was any keys to that?
Yeah, probably drop to the back and let them guys hash it out until about laps, whatever the last 10 laps are. I don't know. How many laps is this race?
You only got 60.
Oh, let it ride until about lap 50.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on that. All right, sir, well, you got the number 2, the number 7, the number, let's see, what there's 1, 2, 4, or 7 to choose from.
I'll do 1.
Number 1 is going to be P number 6 for Dan. And outside lines, it can be easy or hard to kind of execute your plan and maybe drop him back.
Prefer it. Totally prefer it.
All right, we'll keep an eye on this number 2. See how you're doing. Congratulations on making it into the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw. And have fun out there tonight.
All right, good luck tonight.
All right, Dan Jan going to roll off in P number 6, Kelly. And I totally thought he was going to pick number 2.
Yeah, it would definitely fit in with
His number.
his theme, yeah, his number, but he does not going to take that. He'll be starting in P6, and we're going to move along. So coming up after that is Josh Nelms I'll be catching up with. Here now with Josh Nelms, and Josh, it is a new series, a new car, and a lot of questions that basically everyone is asking. What are you expecting from this season?
Going fast and turning left. This is going to be different with the ARCA cars and first track being drafting. A lot of guys don't have the experience, so it's just patience and making sure the bumpers align and don't push too hard and try not to get pushed too hard.
Well, hopefully you guys have all learned the corners of the car now, but we have got a redraw here ready for you. The numbers that you've got left on the board is the 2, 4, and 7, and pole position is still out there. So what would you like?
I'll take 7.
Take 7, and it will be on the inside, but it'll be row 2, a P3 starting spot for you here tonight. Are you looking forward to that, or are you going to be trying to get to the back as soon as you can?
I think my intentions is probably to drop to the back. We'll see how it plays out early on. I just don't want to get beat up and pushed around in a pack.
All right, well, let's see if that strategy will work for you, and we'll maybe be talking to you later on. So good luck to you, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
So Josh Nelms draws P3. There's still no one on the pole yet, Al.
No one on the pole, but this driver would like to maybe be on the pole. The driver of the 73, Robbie Clavey. And Robbie, making it in the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw. The question I had, do you have a clue what you're doing out there?
This is probably the most clue I have of racing on iRacing.
We found one, Kelly. We found one. Everyone says they have no idea what they're doing. They expect to drop to the back, so the back of the pack is going to be very busy, and they're all waiting until about lap 50 to go.
Well, then maybe I draw the pole and I just stay up front. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's going to be the key. Well, the good news is the pole is still available, and so isn't the back row. So we'll see where you're going to start. Numbers to choose from is 2 or 4. What number would you like?
We're going to go with 4.
4. All right. Well, it won't be the pole. It's going to be inside row number 4, right where you qualified. P number 7. And can you take this number 73 to the front?
I can tell you this is going to be the best chance I'll have in this league. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Robbie. Thank you for all your hard work behind the scenes and all that as well. We look forward to bringing this one to you.
Appreciate you guys. Have fun.
All right, Robbie Clavey going to roll off P number 7, Kelly, right where he qualified. And that means Ryan Johnson going to have the pole, and you're standing by with him.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly talk here with Ryan before he makes the call to the grid. And you would like to know where you're starting, wouldn't you? Well, by the pure luck of the draw, it is going to be the pole for you tonight, Ryan.
Hell yeah.
Well, hopefully you had the strategy to stay up front because that's where you're starting. So hopefully we'll be talking to you a little bit later on tonight. Good luck to you.
Thanks, guys.
So Ryan Johnson lets everyone else take all the other positions, and he gets a start pole here tonight, Al. But we are making the call to the grid. It's time to get ready for our first race of the season in the ARCA cars.
It sure is, and we'd like to thank everybody for taking their time and talking with us in the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw. Well, don't go Googling it. It's just a self-proclaimed redneck that wanted to see his name on the broadcast, and we think that's pretty cool, and we thank him for being a supporter of the North-South Racing League and being our Top 8 redraw sponsor. But now it is time for the starting lineup. Starting on the pole here tonight in car number 38. It's going to be Ryan Johnson. Outside of him in car number 69, it'll be the driver out of Texas. It'll be Randy Nichols. Josh Nelms and the Canadian Guillaume Fortin will roll off in row number 2. Row number 3 is going to be Dylan Connor, our fast time here, presented by Al Speed Shop. And outside of him, number 2 of Dan Janjanin. Robbie Clavey and Scott Austin will roll off in row number 4. Row number 5 sees Travis Hoffler and Brian Hacker. And row number 6, John Cross and J.J. McCrae will roll off 12th.
Row 7 is going to have Scott Negus on the inside, and on the outside, the 91 of Adam Gable. Jeff Bergener will be rolling off in 15th on the inside of row 8 with the 12 of Rodney Huntoon to his outside. Row number 9 sees the 85 of Austin Williams on the left, and on his right will be the 89 of Dustin Shepard. Brian Troyer will be rolling off on the inside of row 10 in the car number 36 with Dante Curtis scheduled to take the outside, but he has not made the call to the grid. Matt Cook will be rolling off in 21st, and 22nd we'll see Josh Cole.
That is our 22 car field as we get ready to go racing here tonight for the season opener of the North-South Racing's Grand National Stock Car Series. Been a long time coming, Kelly. When they announced this, you and I both, our ears perked up. We were ready to see this one get underway. The season is here. 10 races to crown another champion. That'll bring us into the month of February. We are looking forward to this one as the field rolls into turns 3 and 4, those high banked corners where everyone so famously wants to be in victory lane here in Daytona. Grandstands are packed. We are ready to go racing for the first time here in 2025. We want to thank you for tuning on in here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Thank you for the support as the field gets ready to go as they roll to the tri-oval. Pace truck down and away. Barney, green flag in hand, into the restart zone. And we are racing at Daytona.
Still on that inside. He'll be rolling off with the entire rest of the field chasing him, but Randy Nichols getting a good start on that outside. Outside lane seems to get the momentum a little bit faster here as they are building up the pace. He's already got Guillaume pushing him quite well, and Guillaume is now even up with Ryan Johnson. But now that inside line surging ahead, but now it's really going to get all mixed up as all these drivers dive down and get out of the way, move to the back of the field, and that means that inside row is not really going to have anyone to help it, and that is going to allow Randy Nichols to push ahead.
Yeah, Nichols is going to use that outside lane, stays up there, does not drop down just yet. Waits for Fortin to clear the 38 of Johnson. He will do so that time. Lap number 1 into the books as they come across the stripe, and Randy Nichols going to lead the first lap of ARCA competition, the Grand National Series. But Ryan Johnson quickly back to the outside. He jumps up in front of the number 02. That is Jan Janin in that Whelen-sponsored car.
And Janin giving a little bit of a push to Johnson here, trying to see if they can build up some momentum. But, 3 wide a little bit here as that looked to be the 5 of Scott Austin peeking up to the high side. But that killed the momentum the second lane had. That dropped Jan Janin way off the back of the 38 car. And now it has completely killed that outside lane. They are having to reform up here. And that has allowed, I think, the top 8 cars to pull ahead on the inside. Oh, here comes Hacker taking a look to the outside. He has a full head of steam, and he just wanted to keep that momentum.
Yeah, a lot of momentum off the corner as that inside lane forms up. Hacker out there by the lonesome, but he's got his teammate, the 12 of Rodney Huntoon there in the GMRC, the Green Mountain RC Club sponsored entry, working the outside. Here comes Scott Austin, so the Hacker pack trying to get formed up on the outside. Everyone else down low, single filing it out. As we watch that good battle up front, though, Randy Nichols shows the way. And Kelly, you were out in this ARCA car last week. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, and the steering box was broke in our car, so did not get to race with you guys. But this new car, how was it? What are these drivers experiencing as they work around Daytona?
Well, we were racing at Iowa last week, a very different track, but I was enjoying how the car felt. It was new to me. It felt actually surprisingly loose. There was the car was very free and was really wanted to be wheeled, but here tonight at Daytona, you're trying to keep that thing as smooth as possible. And these guys are learning how they can push in these things. Very different from the old ARCA cars we used to have. Gone is that slow sloped nose and high rear end, and now you can push a lot harder in these things.
Yeah, this was more like the old style NASCAR steel bodies as they work down here. The outside lane, though, starting to form up. We got 4 or 5 cars. The 36 hitting in there. That's Brian Troyer at the tail end of the field. Him battling out there. Outside him, or inside him, is Dustin Shepard. And that fluorescent yellow Zufab Garage DCD entry. There's only 4 cars working that outside lane, and already 4 laps complete, 5. We got this main pack, and then you got the other pack being led by Josh Cole in that Bucky's entry. And those drivers have single filed it out, trying to stay out of a big one, potentially. And that was a big thing in our pre-race show and during our redraw. These drivers were really concerned about maybe a big one getting caught up in someone's mess early on in this race.
I mean, that's always something to be nervous about in a super speedway race, but you also are running the risk of it going green and not being able to catch back up with the rest of the pack. As we've got a little bit of a 3-car breakaway here. Nichols, Fortan, and Nelms have been able to kind of separate themselves just a little bit from the rest of the pack. Hoffler is trying to catch up with a little bit of help of JJ McRae, and the outside line of the Hacker, Huntoon, Austin, and I believe that is also Dustin Shepard. So most of the Austin Designs crew there trying to form up and make that second lane work, but everyone else seems to be content with just kind of cruising along the inside lane.
Yeah, we're on board with Josh Nelms looking out the back of theirs. He's their fastest lap, 47.501, an average of 188 miles per hour. So these guys are moving around this racetrack fairly good. I believe that was their fast lap. And moving this racetrack, in this track, these drivers will move up and down, work it all around. Like you said, those top 3. Oh, a little bit of side draft. Brian Hacker's going to clear the one of Hoffler, and he is going to orphan his teammates on that outside. Drops down and gets immediately in front of Hoffler, right behind Nelms in that 0-0.
Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to maybe form a bridge here, but no, it is his teammates are still working up on that outside, and he has just got himself into that big clear zone there now, right behind Nelms. He does have another teammate ahead of him, though. He's got Guillaume, who normally is with Hugo Paquette Motorsports, but does work with a lot of these Austin Designs guys. So we'll see if these two will work together here tonight. I mean, Guillaume has worked so well with Nichols so far, and now it's starting to team up with Nelms as well. So we'll see where the allegiances lie as we get through this race. But now, oh, big push on that outside lane, and here comes Huntoon on the high side.
Yeah, Huntoon really working the outside of the racetrack fairly well. Has been up there all night wide. Pulls up even with the 2 of Brian Hacker. And right now, these drivers are really going to school. They went to school all during practice. They had practice here last night, trying to manage those runs. And with the way the draft works, and I'll call it the suck up, you get sucked up to the cars in front of you so fast, managing that run, knowing when to let off, when to ride those brakes. It's not just hold the foot to the pedal and go around Daytona. These drivers are really working inside these cockpits as they're all looking to chase Randy Nichols, who has led it since the green flag has dropped out front in that Chevrolet. But here comes Huntoon and Scott Austin on the outside lane. They draw even with a 13 of Fortin off of turn number 4.
Yeah, Huntoon has figured out how to make that outside lane work. He's getting some good help from both Scott Austin and from Dustin Shepard there. And now they are even up, and I think Huntoon may have been scored as he was scored as the leader there crossing the line. So he has got himself a lap led officially, got himself that bonus point. And now we'll see if he can get fully clear of the 69 of Randy Nichols and officially take over the lead of this race.
Yeah, he is working it down the backstretch, and he has got a good head of steam outside. They got Shepard there as well. Huntoon a little bit loose, though, chasing the car. That a lot breaks up that outside lane. Here comes Nichols back to the inside, trying to make something happen. As they will work here, and at the line, Huntoon will be the leader of that lap also. So Huntoon, our only other leader besides the 69 of Randy Nichols. And I feel like they've ran enough laps. The fuel load has changed. These cars, the tires are up to temperature. I gotta feel like the handling of these cars have got to probably start changing.
Yeah, I don't know how. Whoa, here's a big wobble there from Huntoon as he had a huge push from Scott Austin. And now they will get clear. They'll drop down in front of Randy Nichols. And now we've got Dustin Shepard leading the outside lane. He's got a good run here. He's got a little bit of help from Dan Janjanin, but it is practically only a 2-car push. Oh, another shove from Austin. And then once again, Huntoon having a big wiggle. That's forced Austin to have to let off and allow him to get himself back under control. Now Dustin Shepard pretty much taking over the race lead. He was scored as the leader across the line there, but will he be able to build up enough speed to get fully clear of the 12? There's a bit of space between Huntoon and Austin, but Dustin Shepard and Dan Janjanin on the high side pretty much nose to tail. And now they are going to get clear, and they're going to leave Josh Cole on his own up there. So now Dustin Shepard takes over the lead. Now let's see who's going to be the next one to build out that outside lane. Josh Cole dropping back to Travis Hoffler. But he is not going to get enough speed. Huntoon looking to the high side. He's not going to get help from his teammate. Scott Austin electing to stay on the bottom.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed down the backstretch there, Kelly. The 69 of Nichols dropped to the inside, kind of fell back a little bit. Maybe doesn't like what he saw in front of him as they all start to work here. And it's just one of those things where these drivers really starting to feel what these race cars are doing, watching these cars around, maybe not too comfortable with who they're with, but it is all right now eyes on the 89 as everyone's kind of settling it out, getting single file. And that second group, Kelly, just take a look back there. We're going to go back to Brian Troyer. He's up here in this main group, but John Cross, they are back there. Oh, about 4 seconds off that lead duo. Single file out. These guys just minding their own P's and Q's, riding it out. I kind of like this play call, but do you think 5 seconds is a little bit too far back?
It's definitely a huge distance back, but it will give them a lot of time to check up in case of any incidents. And we nearly had one just a few moments ago as Austin Williams got tagged from JJ McRae. And now, Hacker getting pretty much put up into the wall by Josh Cole. Cole was just hounding him. I think he was trying to help push him, but kind of got Hacker really out of sorts and forced Hacker up there. And now Hacker is electing to drop back, and I think Huntoon's going to join him. So few drivers getting aggressive, and that's causing a couple other drivers to reconsider what their plan was.
Yeah, and watching some of these cars, they're getting really, really loose. Our pole sitter Johnson all the way back to the 10th spot now. in that number 38, and really everyone's kind of single filed it out. Gotta wonder if the like we were talking about the characteristics, the handling of these cars maybe changing, or are they getting into that mode where we know that they upped the fuel load to 75% for tonight's race. Makes me wonder, can they make it a one-stop race?
Yeah, maybe a few of these drivers thinking this is going to be a long green flag run, so they're settling into position, not wanting to worry too much, as the positions will get really shaken up by the by green flag stop. But we have a couple drivers electing to try to make a move here. Looks like Austin was trying to go to the high side, and he did drag one driver with him. That was Austin Williams. And now here we go. Scott Austin is going to be on the high side. Williams coming up behind him to push. And we have got that outside lane starting to form once again. Scott Austin going around the outside of Dan Janjanin. And it looks like Josh Cole is going to come up and try to join them as well. And he'll join in and make this a 3-car train on the high side. And they're getting some good momentum. The 5 of Austin has cleared the 89 car. And he kind of lingers in that second lane. He will stay on the high side, trying to see if he can pull a few guys with him. But now it is 2 cars clear, and they are going to kind of run the middle there.
Yeah, right in the middle, and that's going to put Josh Cole in a position where he tried to make it 3 wide for a moment. Everyone gets tucked back in 2 by 2. How about Brian Troyer? He's up 12 positions, Kelly, as he's cracked the top 10, running in the 8th spot now. Working the outside, Williams cuts down low as he'll leave Scott Austin. Williams to the race lead off turn number 2. And these drivers trying to manage these runs. Gotta wonder, Kelly, when you're tucked up so close with these cars, we have limited seat time with them. If heating becomes an issue, we know that that was an issue in the old style NASCARs, the old Gen cars. But we were never really able with the ARCA cars before now to see the bump drafting that we're seeing. Could temperatures, with being tucked up so close, start to become an issue?
I was hearing over the radio drivers making sure that they knew how to be able to get the temperatures up on the dash for themselves. So that is something they are keeping an eye on. And with how tight they are racing, it can definitely be an issue. You can only push so hard for so long. You got pretty much no airflow going to the front of the car when you're pushing that hard. And that is going to now allow Scott Austin to drop down to the bottom, but Josh Cole did not want to go with him. He's going to stay on the high side. He's going to try to take over the race lead. Now big shove to Guillaume Fortin coming from the 36 of Troyer. And that's going to allow Fortin to keep with Cole. Now Cole having to lift off on the entrance of 3, and that's going to kill their momentum. Here comes Scott Austin once again, bringing Austin Williams with him.
Yeah, they are working there, and there we are on board with Dustin Shepard, who has led 5 laps so far in this race as we close in on the 1/4 mark of this 60-lap, or 1/3 mark, excuse me, of this 60-lap contest. Scott Austin, now your race leader in the number 5 car, and how fitting is that, Kelly? That car looking like the old Wood Brothers paint scheme, and it's out front with Trevor Bain. A lot of famed drivers took that paint scheme to victory lane. Can Scott Austin do it as well here in the season opener for the Grand National Series for the North-South Racing League? Austin out front as they work here into the trial. We'll put lap 19 into the book, starting lap 20. Really single file. And the one thing, I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on it or not, Kelly, that group that was behind them some 4 seconds, they are closing in to make this a 22-car pile as they work here, being led by the number 10 of John Cross. And they are sniffing that draft now and inching ever so close to that front pack.
Yeah, they're not wanting to be too far off in case we do get some green flag stops. So they're trying to close that gap up a little bit closer now as we are going to be nearing that point. I don't know exactly how far they can go with a 75% tank, especially with how things work with the draft. We've had a lot of drivers mixing it up. Some drivers burning fuel while others have been saving, and Scott Austin has not led for all that long, so I don't think it's that bad. Oh, we do actually have our first takers. So Nichols, Johnson, Heffler, Cross, Bergener, and Dylan Connor all come down the pits.
Yeah, and a nice easy pit stop. So we got our first stalls. Dylan Connor and Randy Nichols, Ryan Johnson, some of our front runners, Travis Hoffler, down on pit road. And looks like fuel only on these stops is Nichols and Johnson, the first two cars out. And they got to stay below that yellow line all the way to the exit of turn number 2. As the field comes off turn number 4, no takers out of that first batch as Austin still leads here in that Austin Designs number 5.
So they'll be closing in, possibly lapping those people that just came through the pits that last lap. But we'll have to wait and see, because this may help those guys. It may allow them to push and run a bit faster and be able to close back up once the pit cycle has completed. But a few drivers taking that early stop, and yeah, I think you're right. I think it was only fuel for all of those drivers. No need for tires here at Daytona here tonight in the ARCA car.
Especially when they get them up the temperature, I think the grip level is at a maximum. Maybe you change them if you have to come in. Kelly, that was only 20 laps of racing on that tank of fuel. So it makes me wonder if this is going to be a 2-stop race, or if they're going to try to make it a 2-stop race with those pairs. Will they take tires next time if they have to come down pit road? Again, it's all speculation, as we were not really given good numbers in our pre-race notes of how far these guys could actually go.
Yeah, drivers were not really practicing for long runs here in the pre-race practice. They were trying to just find the limits of the cars and limits of the draft, how much they could push and where they could push. So there was a lot of wrecks, a lot of spins, and not a lot of long green flag runs. So we're all kind of figuring out how these cars are driving over a long run. We've had over the years a lot of different dynamics. There was a period in the Gen 6 where, yeah, this car got real loose towards the end of a long run here at Daytona. But here under the lights in the ARCA car, it's looking like they've got a fair amount of grip, as long as they're not getting a weird push.
Yeah, we've seen some pushes that could have gone really wrong, not go wrong, as your top 8 cars here have broken out single file as they lead over the next group that is some 6 seconds back, as those front runners starting to break apart. 4 of them coming down pit road, being led by Dustin Shepard.
Yeah, Shepard, Nelms, Janjanin, Cole, and looks like Scott Negus as well will be coming down to the pit road. So we'll see what these guys are going to come out, compared to Nichols as the first driver of the first group, the pit. So he's the one to keep an eye on. Is basically our front runner for this. And seeing just basically Austin and Austin out there right now, I would expect them to come down pit road. Yeah, Scott Austin is already just announced over the radio he is going to be coming down the pit this time. So him and Williams will likely pit together. And we'll see how this is all going to shake out. Dustin Shepard now getting back out onto the racetrack along with the rest of the drivers that just came down. And looks like JJ McRae is also going to come in, but what a good move from him. He was actually able to pass a few of those guys as they slowed in for the pits.
Yeah, McRae doing a nice entry there in that 77 to come down pit road, and very aggressive on that entry to the pits, and it seems like maybe he's done this a time or two before.
Yeah, I think he knew where his braking mark was exactly, and was able to trust that the brakes on these things and able to get it slowed up way faster than those other drivers. And yeah, made a few spots there. We'll see how that's going to shake out as the drivers come back around. So JJ McRae will lead them out. A great stop for him. Let's see what there goes Randy Nichols. Nichols still has to make another lap, I believe, to be able to take over the race. No, actually, he is way in the race lead. So yeah. Nichols is now going to take it over. And that first group to pit, Nichols, Johnson, and Heffler, have absolutely gapped the rest of this field. I thought they still had to make one more lap, considering how far up they were actually getting on these guys. But No, that is going to be the race lead for them, and it is already growing to over 4 seconds.
Yeah, nice pit stop there. Early stop for the trio out front with Travis Hoffler running in third, Ryan Johnson and Randy Nichols as they all work through there. Closing in on the halfway point already of the Sunshine State 150, the kickoff for the Grand National Series for the North-South Racing League. We thank you for tuning on into tonight's broadcast presented here on Turn 3 Racing Network. And Kelly, once again, these drivers outsmarting us. We thought pitting that early was going to be really a hindering to them, but it ended up being way better. And those three cars have some 6 seconds over the 10 of John Cross, who's got a good line of cars. The question is, will those 8 cars running nose to tail be faster than those 3 up front?
Normally you can get a faster run with more cars, but we'll have to see what these guys are able to manage compared to that rest of the field, and because you can definitely have too much start checking each other up.
Yeah, we saw it just a moment ago. It looked like Josh Cole in that 09 car had a run, but had to check up. Kind of broke that up a little bit. Interesting to see what's going to happen here as they continue to run. Dylan Connor in that 90 car runs there in the spot. Right there behind him. They can go on board watching the driver work. This is not a Sunday drive. This is not a smooth racetrack. Look at his head bouncing all around.
Yeah, the cars are moving underneath these guys, and one of the things to keep note is Randy Nichols has been leading the entire time for that pack, so that means he's been burning way more fuel than Johnson and Heffler. So either they need to coordinate a way to switch up a little bit and spread that fuel burn out, or else they'll be pitting a little bit earlier. But it seems like these guys have the strategy of just make it 20 laps and then pit. Just cut the race into thirds and see what how it is all going to shake out. But those three are all in the same team here, so it is they are able to all communicate this strategy, and it seems to be working out for them just fine so far. Over a 6-second lead between Nichols and Cross.
That they are as Cross leads in that Bucky's number 10, but up front is the Mooney's number 69 of Randy Nichols. And I thought that group with more cars would start to close in on them, but they continue to grow that race lead. It is now 6.7 seconds with the 3 of these drivers just breaking it away. Is Nichols, Johnson, and Hoffler run nose to tail with 30 laps to go here and just continue to grow that lead, where those 3 cars seem to be faster than the 8 cars running nose to tail.
Last lap, the times were fairly similar, but there was a bit of a speed advantage for Nichols over Cross, but it is not by much. So the gap basically staying the same right now. There is a little bit growing this lap, so it seems like Nichols, Johnson, and Hoffler have got things worked out. They have got the pacing and the pace to the spacing and the pace to be able to make this work here as a little 3-car breakaway. And they are doing very well. We'll have to see, though, if they can make sure that they can get in clean for the next pit stop.
Yeah, right now, these 3 drivers, they are working together out there on the racetrack. I'm sure that they have their spotters up on the stand, taking and getting themselves all situated, so that way, when and if they come down pit road, they'll all come down together and kind of do that. But their race lead 7.5 seconds, Kelly. These 3 cars are absolutely moving around Daytona International Speedway. Is the back here, this pack really jostling up, fighting hard for position. McRae to the inside under the 00 of Nelms. McRae going to try to fill the hole. The 90 of Connor thought about coming down, couldn't do anything with it. And that 77 of JJ McRae up to the 5th spot. Here, as you look and see who is your biggest mover. How about Josh Cole up 15 spots so far, just past the halfway point.
And that second pack is fighting way too much. They are losing tons of time on those lead 3. They are now almost 9 seconds back. That is the gap between Heffler and Cross right now. 8.8 seconds. So they really need to sort things out, get themselves into single file, put away the fighting for now, and deal with it later. We are still only halfway through this race. And once again, they just start making attempts to pass and blocking runs, and this is not how they're going to catch the lead.
Well, we do know that those drivers up front more than likely are going to have to come down pit road again. Could these drivers be fighting for the win? Do they have enough fuel in the fuel tank to make it to the end if we stay green? That is the big if with how they're pushing and hitting each other. Just one wrong breath can be a huge pileup for these drivers who are running 2x2, battling it out for 4th on back.
I don't think they can make it to the end. They all pit on lap 25 at the latest. So that is basically as far as we know anyone can push the fuel right now. So unless someone is doing a crazy save, I don't think any of these drivers will make it to the end. They need to just get in line and push to be able to get back up to the lead, or else all they will be doing tonight is fighting for 4th place.
Yeah, it's going to come down to see there. We got definitely some different strategies out there. Looks like Robbie Claby lost the draft during those laps as they all work through turns 1 and 2. Your race leader, though, still Randy Nichols over Johnson and Hoffler. Couple drivers down a couple laps or more. The 36 of Troyer down 2, and Rodney Huntoon back in the 20th spot, down 1 lap so far. He would love to see one of our Mad Plowing yellow flags come out. Mad Plowing, well, I'm going to need some Mad Plowing here, Kelly. We're supposed to get a foot of snow tomorrow.
We still have no call for any snow, so that's the advantage of living on the West Coast here, is it just stays rain for about 9 months, but you don't have to shovel the rain, don't have to worry about plowing the rain. But Rodney Huntoon hoping to see one of those cautions. I believe him and Troyer most likely got dinged with a penalty either exiting pit road, as Jonathan Cross has had enough. He's dropping back. He does not want to be involved with this fight. I think all he was trying to do was just run as straight of a race as he could and get himself back into the that lead 3, but now that gap is open to 11 seconds. There is just too much fighting in this second pack.
Yeah, and we're in that 25 to go range, 24 laps to go. Are you too far back to try to pit early and get out of this? If you're some of these drivers, you kind of riding it out, you got to try to make up some kind of ground. I don't know, do you try the short pit? Those are all the questions down on pit road that our crew chiefs are having to figure out. I'm glad it's not our decision, Kelly, because I don't know what would be the right call. We saw that those 2 drivers out front came down on lap 20 all together, and they have now grown their race lead to 11.5 seconds over Dan Janjanin, who runs in P number 4. And that is a battle back there. I mean, these guys are tooth and nail fighting for every inch on the racetrack.
Yeah, the big problem is, even if you have 2 teammates and you do make the call to pit early, it would likely put you a lap down just because of how big of a gap there is between the second pack and the leaders. So even if a caution were to come out, it would not help them, and it would really hinder all their chances. Unless they could stay out, they would be able to get their lap back, but then they would just be at the back of the field. It would help if it stayed green. It would likely put them ahead of this pack that's all fighting, but they would have to be really moving to be able to catch up to those lead 3.
Yeah, and we see the top 3 though really able to pull away. 11.5 seconds. That's pretty impressive. Is now Scott Austin, a powerhouse early on in this one, pushing the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. They've got the 09 of Josh Cole and Austin Williams in tow up in that upper lane. Here comes J.J. McRae. He switches to the high side. Off of turn number 2 and down the back stretch. What will shake out here? It's a great show to watch. I think Randy and Ryan Travis, I think they should like slow up and come back and be part of this, make it a good show.
I mean, yeah, they're putting on a good show. They're being entertaining, but this is not helping them in the slightest. I mean, I'm hearing drivers over the radio saying that they should get in single file and just try to catch up, but they can't agree on who's going to lead that line. As, bit of a checkup there as Scott Austin got into Josh Cole. Going through the tri-oval, everyone's able to keep it safe there and able to slow their cars up. No incidents there as the drivers go 3 wide with, I believe that's Rodney Huntoon, who's now a second lap down, or still only 1 lap down. He's only just now being caught by that second pack.
Yeah, it was Robbie Clevey that they were working by there. As Austin Williams now to the front of this pack as your top 3 have come down pit road. Kelly, your race leaders head to the pit road here with 20 laps to go at the stripe, and that's going to give Austin Williams and that crew there. Some of those drivers are pulling down pit road as well, being left by Jeff Bergner, John Cross, and Dylan Connor. So 6 cars on pit road this time by as we hit the 2/3 mark.
Yeah, they're going to have to hope for a really quick stop to be able to get any sort of ground on that lead 3, but those 3 are able to pull out only a 9-second stop, so they did not need much fuel to make it to the end, and definitely no tires. Bergner still in his pit along with Cross, so those guys taking a long time on the stop. Dylan Connor getting out of there now with only 11 seconds, but Bergner and Cross still there.
Did they get enough fuel to go these last 20 laps? That will be the question. Is Austin Williams your new race leader over Fortin, Austin, Tinjanen, and Shepard? Those are your top 5. It's a 9-car breakaway at the top of this one. Cole just steps out of the line as he has a run trying to make some moves on the outside. He works around Gable in that 91 car, and that is a beautiful looking paint job on the 91 of Adam Gable.
So I was just taking a look at the pit entry, and yeah, John Cross and Jeff Bergner were way too fast entering, so that has killed their race. They are now over a lap down after serving their penalty, so that is not going to work out for them. And also a guy that's going to lose out on this without really any fault of his own, Dylan Connor, because he's got no one to help him now. So those two, both the guys that he pit with got dinged with penalties. He did not, so now he is left basically on an island. He's 19 seconds back from the next car in front.
Yeah, and he has got to find some drafting help, which is not going to come very quickly, I do not believe, for Connor. So a tough break for the 90. And Kelly, if you would have told me that we would have gone 42 laps without one of our mad plowing yellow flags, I think I would have lost that bet with just how practice was going.
Yeah, as I was telling you in practice, the drivers are just finding the limits, and the race was going to be a lot cleaner, and that has been the case so far as we've made it past 2/3 of this race without any sort of problems. And right now, these drivers just trying to get past that lap car of Dylan Connor, who is really dropped back after that pit stop. That did not work out well for him. But Dylan Connor now able to get into line here, able to get some drafting help. He'll be able to get back up the pace. So hopefully once the pit stops have cycled, he'll be able to tag onto the back of the pack and maybe still salvage something out of this race.
Yeah, right now he's the top dog. Right now, if the yellow flag were to fly, he'd get that free pass over Clavey, Huntoon, Cross, and Bergner, who are all down 1 lap. The 36 that's in this battle up here, you see him in that cookout car, or did. He's down 2 laps as they work here with 16 laps to go. And Kelly, these drivers that are up here, if you would have seen those, I was thinking we would have seen those drivers come down pit road as soon as they saw those front 3 come down.
No, these guys are trying to stretch it. I think they're hoping for a short stop and just needing a quick splash of fuel to get themselves to the end and maybe making their distance up that way. But taking a look at the lap times, it looks like they are still running slower. Oh, that time was a good one. So a good lap from Austin Williams and the rest of that pack as they put down a 47.7. We'll have to wait and see what Nichols and his crew are able to do. Looks to be like they also did a 47. Oh no, actually no, they're coming across here. The 47.7 was their last lap, this time by 47.8. So a little bit of an advantage to Williams and the rest of the main pack here as they finally got their cars sorted out, got themselves into one single line, and they are moving with a good head of steam and trying to make up some of that ground.
That they are, and we'll go on board with Austin Williams. You can see the front end damage to the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. I would say not hurting him so much right now in the draft, but could hurt him out if he tries to pull out front or pull out of line. I can see that could possibly become an issue for the 13 car. A little bit of front end damage to that Ford Mustang, but right now showing some good paces. He gives a good shove to the 85 of Williams down the backstretch.
Just trying to push him as much as he possibly can, trying to get as much speed as possible as they are nearing their pit point, likely very soon. We saw pretty much all of these guys make it 24 or 25 laps on the first run, so at that point it just becomes a question of if you're trying to stretch it all the way to the end or just pitting a lap or two early to try to get out of traffic.
Right now, Williams doing a good job. These drivers, I think, kind of just content running single file as they work here around the Daytona International Superspeedway. 2.5 miles. We had 150 laps, or 150 miles, 60 laps here tonight as we closing in on the final 10 here, and it's all been green flag. So we take a look at tonight's race recap, working lap 48. Current leader is Austin Williams with 7 lead changes so far as we got some takers for pit road.
Yeah, first ones came over the radio at the beginning of this lap saying that they were going to be coming in and pitting this time by. Looks like we got Shepard, Nelms, Janjanin, Cole, Hacker, Negus, Cook all coming in as well as a few of our lap cars and Clavey, Huntoon, and Troyer. So we'll see if these guys can get a good quick stop, get themselves back out there. We saw 9 seconds out of the lead pack and 8.1 from Dustin Shepard. So that'll help get at least a couple seconds back on their side there as they come back out. Dan Janjanin, a real quick stop for him, 6.75. So I almost started to wonder if he even got enough fuel.
And these drivers up at the front now, Fortin and Williams, along with Gable coming down pit road, leaving Austin and McRae out on the racetrack with 11 laps to go as they will work here. So 2 drivers left the pit, Kelly, and if they wait too long here, it'll be 10 to go when they come by this time off for turn number 4. As they work up the super stretch in the turns 3. Scott Austin and Austin Designs number 5 back out front.
And Dustin Shepard kind of off on his own here as one of the first cars out after the last pit stop, and that is causing him to drop even further back from our race leaders as Scott Austin comes down to pit. JJ McRae doesn't come with him. I don't know what the plan was there for JJ McRae, but he stays out, and this is nonsense. That's no other way to say it, but you need to pit as a group. A lap by on your own is just giving away time, and there is no one there to help him. So he's going to just pull a slower lap here. He'll be passed by a number of drivers. And this also means Scott Austin's going to have to hope that he can get out quick, and he is not. He's taking tires. So he will be pretty much on his own. This race is essentially in the hands of Nichols, Johnson, and Hoffler. They basically just have to hope for it to go green the rest of the way, as now JJ McRae will come in and pit. And Randy Nichols, Ryan Johnson, Travis Hoffler will enjoy an 18-second lead over their nearest rivals.
Yeah, I was just going to get ready to say that they come off of turn number 4. Your race leaders are going to have a huge lead with 9, make it 8 laps to go. Nichols, Johnson, and Hoffler, your top 3 back out front with a 17-second lead over Dustin Shepard. Jan Janin running in 6th, Josh Cole, Austin, Scott Negus, and Brian Hacker, your top 10 here in the Sunshine State 150 here for the season opener for the Grand National Series. I'm surprised at how big of a gap that they actually gained more time, Kelly, in that pit exchange to be in 17 seconds in front of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, because they have just stayed nose to tail the entire time. They have been moving very well as a whole team here. As JJ McRae is trying to get up to speed, he will actually catch on to the lead group of this second pack. Oh no, maybe he won't be able to build up enough momentum, but Dustin Shepard is going to lead his small group around him. So he's got a group of 5 cars. He's going to try to chase down that group of 3, but not a lot of time left in this race, and that is a lot of time between Heffler and Shepard. 16.7 seconds. So they really have to hope for something to happen here, or a caution to come out, because those lead 3 have just checked out.
That they have, and right now we've got 16 of the 21 cars on the lead lap that started today's race. And I tell you, the pit call by these 3 drivers, they had a plan, it seemed like, coming into tonight's race. They've stuck with it, and now they are out front, and they are going to they've got enough time. They can settle it amongst themselves, Kelly. It's all about bragging rights right now. Who's going to take that first win of the Grand National Series here at Daytona International Speedway? We're going to have 6 laps to go. This time off of turn number 4. They're going to put the 36 of Troyer down the lap, that cookout machine. And you see the speed difference between someone in the draft versus someone out of the draft is quite drastic.
Yeah, and it's such a big difference that even after you get past you can't even tag along with them, as he was just left in the dust. And now the only question is, have these 3 come to an agreement on who gets the win? Was it settled by who comes out of the pits first, or are they going to come to that white flag and just go at it for the very last lap, as they pretty much can afford to do so as long as they don't wreck each other. 16 or nearly 17 seconds now back to Dustin Shepard. So if these guys fan out and pretty much give up the draft for that last lap, they still won't be passed by the next pack.
Right, they are just out there, and they took a Hoffler with a little peek to the inside. That double yellow line out of bounds here at Daytona, can't pass below it. So right now, if you're Johnson or Nichols, your best friend is that yellow line, along with the 2 drivers behind you that have really catapulted themselves out front as far as they have. And it is quite impressive, and that lead continues to grow. 17.2 seconds now for these 3 drivers who seem content to just finish this way. Here they come to get 4 laps to go.
Yeah, right now, it seems like they're content to finish the 1, 2, 3 like this, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, they likely did have an agreement of who would take the win, but you know, it could be fun to see them go at it. They could possibly just happen off of turn 4. They may just try to make a move. We'll see. We'll see if they've got an agreement, or if they don't, or if they've got an agreement and someone decides not to honor it. But we're just gonna have to wait a few more laps for these 3 drivers to get there, as Nichols continues to lead, with Johnson giving a good push down the back straightaway. And that right there is why they have such a big lead. They have been working very well in the draft together.
That they have, and you would say that these guys were old veterans of this style of racing. Everybody out there, as we'll drop back just a little bit with 3 laps to go, is Shepard runs in 4th. How about the number 10 there? That he is down 1 lap. John Cross. A tough break for the Bucky's entry. He was very quick. Same with the 21 of Bergner. So you got some lap down cars in there drafting with our on-lap cars. Dan Jannon runs in 5th. Josh Cole is 6th. Brian Hacker in 7th. He leads the next group as they work around the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. And Fortin misfortune continues here at Daytona as he'll get bypassed. Nelms is 8th. Scott Austin and Scott Negus, your top 10. JJ McRae 11th. John Cook is in the 12th spot. And Dylan Connor, your 13th and final car on the lead lap with just 2.5 miles. Well, less than that now for the 69 of Randy Nichols as he works down the back stretch here at Daytona. Nichols, Johnson, and Hoffler will see the white silk fly. This time off turn number 4, just 2.5 miles left to go in tonight's Sunshine State 150. Can Nichols hold off Johnson and Hoffler? That is going to find the gloves are going to be out as they roll in here. White flag is out.
Yeah, white flag in the air. What is the agreement between these 2 drivers, these 3 teammates? Will they go at it, or will they just push each other to the end as Nichols holds a great lead? And it is about 18 seconds now all the way back to Dan Jannon and Dustin Shepard, and it's getting even worse as those guys have decided to just battle it out.
Nichols right to the back bumper of Johnson, right to the back bumper of Nichols. They hold it together. Johnson takes a peek to the outside. Hoffler there as well. Johnson lags back just a little bit. Here he comes off the corner. He's going to swing to the outside, block to the outside. Nick Johnson down to the inside. And at the line, photo finish. Johnson at the line, going to steal it.
Well, hopefully the agreement between these teammates was let's go at it in the last corner, and it wasn't just let's just stay in line, because if it was, there's going to be a few unhappy faces post-race. But we'll talk to these guys very soon, see what the plan was and how they were able to execute it this well.
How about Jan Jannon going to come home in the 4th spot? Shepard in 5th. Battles all the way back. Scott Austin, as that was a good battle, comes back 5th. Negus McRae and Hacker, your top 10, as Ryan Johnson picks up the win here tonight. He is tonight's winner as he comes down in the tri-oval in 0.028 seconds. Kelly was the margin of victory for the Budweiser number 38. And how fitting is that at Daytona? That a scheme of sorts goes to victory lane.
He will do a bit of a backwards lap here as he celebrates his win. But a fantastic race by all of these drivers here to make the entire race flag to flag. And we were talking about at the beginning of the night how basically everyone expected a big one. It's Daytona. The big one happens at some point, and it seemed like very early on we were going to get one. Drivers were all over the place, but somehow we managed to stay in line, and I think only a couple drivers may have got an incident point with a couple of scrapes and bumps, but for the most part, it is a very clean race.
Yeah, very clean. Ryan Johnson victorious, and well, he's doing the backup race. We'll take a second and let you know that tonight's post-race show is being brought to us by Sim Racer Hub, the place where leagues go to stay organized. And Kelly, those roof flaps starting to flop open. We're going to take and see if Ryan Johnson can talk to us while he's doing his, I don't even know, what would you call this? It's not a Polish victory lap.
It's definitely not. It is its own thing, and Ryan Johnson having fun with it. He's basically made it the entire lap backwards at this point.
So we'll take and get in touch with tonight's race winner, Ryan Johnson. And inquiring minds are wondering, what do you call this celebration?
The tiny horse.
All right, we'll go with it. The tiny. Oh, man, 150 miles of white knuckle action. You guys executed your plan to a T, it seemed like. And you're going to come out of here. You steal the win away from the 69 of Randy Nichols, but you all three really worked well here good tonight. Was that the plan coming in to Daytona, or did you guys just happen to find each other on the racetrack and decide, all right, this just seems to be working, let's continue it?
Well, to be honest, we didn't have anything like this before the race started. But as we saw how much fuel we were using, I didn't think anybody was going to be able to make it to halfway. And then I asked the guys, I'm like, well, I got an idea, and I think we should try this. And we all agreed, and we're like, all right, coming down on 20. And I was really curious to see what happened after pit cycle, and turns out we had a really good lead and just figured out how to push, keep our speed up. I'm really surprised that it worked as well as it did, but I mean, I'll take it. That was awesome. Me, Randy, and Travis, and we just kind of set sail.
And you're going to come home 1, 2, and 3, and talk us through that last lap. Did you know you were going to try to make a move? Did you know that you had something for Nichols there off turn 4? Did that just kind of develop in that last lap?
Yeah, based on how these cars felt in practice and kind of playing around with the draft earlier in the race, you could get like huge runs on these things if you just back up a little bit. And we were making all sorts of jokes like, oh, we're going to finish 3 wide. We're going to wreck racing for the win. And oh, let's not wreck. And just a lot of stuff. So I knew, I mean, me, Randy, and Travis, I'm sure we all wanted to win. But me being in the middle of the two, I just tried to get a pretty good run off of 4, and Randy blocked me, and he was there. But I was surprised when we went back down low. I got such a huge side draft off of him, and it just kind of pulled him back towards me. I didn't expect it to be that heavy from the driver's side of the car versus the passenger. That's why I was gonna try and go high. But yeah, it's just a super strong side draft, and yeah, I mean, I was gonna try and win. I know these guys would have done the same thing, and I'm just glad we were able to bring it home in one piece.
Well, you're going to come out of here as the first winner of the Grand National Series, and these cars seem like to be a lot of fun. Kelly says last week they were kind of a handful to drive. As we get looking at the remainder of this one, we're headed out west to Phoenix and in North Wilkesboro in the month of December. What do you think we can expect out of this Grand National Series as we head west?
From what I've heard, these cars are pretty tight, so I think a lot of the guys will be battling that if that holds true. I'm not sure. I haven't driven these a whole lot, but it is a NASCAR style car, and I mean, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Looking forward to a lot of fun. I think there'll be a lot of really close racing with a lot of these guys, I'm sure, learning a new car, myself included. But yeah, just looking forward to it, and hopefully we have another good season here at NSRL. We normally do. So
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your first win of the season, the first driver to put their names in with the new style car here for the Grand National Series. Before we let you roll on out and crack open some of those Budweisers, who's making it all possible for you?
yeah, just all the admins putting on NSRL. You guys have been the booth for broadcasting. All the drivers for a caution-free race at Daytona tonight. I don't think I've ever been a part of that. My teammates were working with me well tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't have all of our teammates. They had some trouble, but everybody tuning in and watching, and yeah, hopefully we'll get a different paint here. This is just a trading paints one, so hopefully we'll get one for the season soon.
Well, congratulations, Ryan. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Enjoy this one, as it was a close finish there at the line, winning it by just, I would say, a quarter of a car. Congratulations, and we'll talk to you hopefully next week at Phoenix.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, Ryan Johnson Kelly going to become our first winner of the Grand National Series as he edges out the driver who led here tonight, Randy Nichols, as he'll come home in P number 2. And Nichols probably leading the most laps here tonight at Daytona. Going to come up runner-up, and you're caught up with him.
Yeah, here now with Randy Nichols. And Randy, this seemed like something you guys had planned out well ahead of time. Did you already have this all set in stone, or was this something you guys came up with during that first stint?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty much just on the spot during the first stint. Kind of trying to figure out like what lap we wanted to come and pit and just kind of get away from the pack. And I mean, it worked out perfectly, honestly. Just kind of come up with it right there.
You guys were really able to make this work. And I mean, what was it kind of out there for you? Was it just basically hold that wheel straight and try to let those guys push as hard as possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's about just kind of keeping the lap times as low as possible, and you know, you really didn't want to have any cars latch onto you, because that's kind of like what ends up causing the issues. Is you start getting people to start pushing behind, and then there's more stack ups, and you start losing momentum. So, yeah, it was just a matter of keeping Ryan as close as possible that entire time, and having Travis stay close to him and keeping that bubble. Keeping that bubble in place, and we all three of us did a really great job of it.
Well, next week we'll be switching things back up, going back to a bit more of a shorter track, going to Phoenix, the old layout of Phoenix, and personally, I think the better layout of Phoenix. But what are you expecting out of this car there?
I expect a little bit more better quality racing than tonight. You're not going to have anything strung out single file like it was. I mean, unfortunately, with super speedways, that's what happens. You have these long green flag, pit stop cycles, and everyone gets kind of broken up, and it's not probably the most exciting thing to watch, but yeah, you'll definitely see a lot more better quality racing next week.
Well, we do have to thank you guys for fighting it out at the end, making a little bit of excitement before the checkered flag. We were a little worried that you guys had already come to agreement and we're just going to finish the way you were, but you guys were able to have some fun with it. But before we let you go, who would you like to thank for your second place run here tonight?
I mean, obviously, definitely want to thank Ryan and Travis for making that possible, for getting like kind of like a 1, 2, 3 with our little group of friends we got. But thanks to you guys for putting out these broadcasts. Thank you to my girlfriend for always kind of giving me words of encouragement and everything, wishing me good luck, and my dad and anybody else that tunes in and watches week in and week out.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us, Randy, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you next week at Phoenix.
All right, thanks, guys.
So Randy Nichols, as Al mentioned, led pretty much the entirety of this race and then ends up coming home second to his teammate, but a well-executed plan from them. But now Al is going to catch up to the last of our lead 3.
Yeah, Travis Hoffler going to be that driver of the number 1 as he will come home in P number 3. And Travis, you come home with a third place finish here tonight, but man, a fast hot rod, a good start to this Grand Nationals series. Talk us through your race and how was it working with those two drivers that finished in front of you?
Oh, it was good, man. They're we've been racing together for a while, so I kind of just follow their lead. We're all kind of on the same team, I guess you could say, and they had the strategy worked out, and I just followed the leader. Riding
coattails, then.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not the plate racer. This is not my forte, and I'm very happy with the third place at this place.
Yeah, honestly, I came in. We were up in the booth getting ready for tonight's broadcast and watching practice. And Kelly goes, "Oh, they're just testing their limits, trying to figure out how far they can push or whatnot." And I was like, "If you say so." I wasn't sure what to expect out of this tonight, and to go green to checkered for the season opener just really shows just how good of a drivers everyone is in this league, and how difficult super speedway racing is. And it's something that this league doesn't normally do. You guys are more primarily a short track league, so to throw you guys out in this unknown and to go green to checkered really measures not only to your ability but to everyone's ability in this league, and makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It just goes to show what the caliber of guys we have in here, and everybody respects each other. Everybody knows how everybody races, and it turns out to be a good race when you have that, adding up. So ready to see what this season brings. This is a whole new car for everybody, and should make for some interesting racing through the season.
Yeah, any of these racetracks that are coming up, we know in the month of December we've got Phoenix and North Wilkesboro. I would say more into the wheelhouse of what you guys normally race, but this car really relatively unknown to a lot of you. What can you think we can expect, before we go into our holiday break?
Yeah, the recruitment races that we raced, they were very much so tire saving, tire conservation, trying to keep the tires underneath it. So those shorter tracks will be very interesting to see who can save and who can, prolong the life of their tire through the race and make them last.
Well, a good start to the season. Going to come home with that third place finish. We'll roll out the red carpet for you. Who makes it all possible for you?
Just everybody in this league, man. It's been fun. This is the only time by iRacing I do. I jump in on Monday nights and I race this. This is what it's all about. Guys that do the NSRL for us, they stand out. I love it, and I'll just keep coming back.
All right, sir. Well, we hope to see you next week as we head out west to Phoenix and see what type of racing we get there. But man, congratulations with your third place finish. Great execution. Have a good week, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, Travis Hoffler going to finish in that P3, Kelly, in the season opener for the Grand National Series here for the North-South Racing League, as we take a look at the final results, the unofficial results for tonight's racing. And it was Ryan Johnson picking up the win over Randy Nichols and Travis Hoffler. Dan Janjanin and Dustin Shepard, your top five. Some takeaways as we pack up the box and head out west, Kelly. A little bit, I won't call it a home race for you, but a little bit less travel time to get to Phoenix for you.
It's not that much different, I think. There's a little less east, but still a lot of south. But yeah, very much looking forward to Phoenix. Should be a very fun race, and like the drivers mentioned, a little bit different here as well, switching up from the super speedway, getting back to a little bit more of a short track, though still a bit one of the larger tracks we've got here on the schedule this season, but should provide for some fun racing. We'll see what the setup is like, if the car is going to be a little tight or if the car is going to be nice and free and these guys can really wheel it, but we'll just have to wait for 1 week's time.
Yeah, another great night of racing. We thank you all for tuning on in. Green to checkered to start the season. I think that bodes well for the rest of the season. Next week, Phoenix is on next, and it's the old style, the Legacy Phoenix. So tune on in if you don't know what that is. Check it on out. Next Monday night, we'll be live right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We want to take a moment and thank all of our sponsors here at the North-South Racing League. We'll start with our simracerhub.com, where the place, and our official post-race show sponsor, and that's where you can keep your league stats and organized for the season. Sandy Paws Rescue, RC2 Promotions, and RC2 Graphic Solutions, Wizards Designs, Austin Designs, Zoofab Garage, and Mad Plowing out of Oregon, Wisconsin. Those are our presenting sponsors this season, along with J&D Farms. We thank you for tuning on in from the World Center of Racing. This is Upstate Al, along my friend Kelly Dahl. We hope that you had a great night, and we'll see you next week for more racing. Good night, everybody.